Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg, as the anticipation grows for Ahsoka Season 2 coming late 2026. We have an enormous tease from the creator of Grand Admiral Thrawn himself, the living legend, Timothy Zahn. In an exclusive interview with Flickering Myth, our Fan Expo Canada, Zahn gave his honest thoughts on Dave Filoni, the handling of Thrawn in Ahsoka, and what to expect in Season 2. Now it's worth noting that despite writing numerous canon books, Zahn's experience with Lucasfilm in recent years has been rather mixed. On the one hand, he is over the moon that Thrawn is back in canon, that fans are talking about him again, that he's seeing such a big resurgence. He was happy to see him in Rebels. He was overjoyed to be writing canon books that center around the fan favorite Chiss. I think in many ways he's very grateful his legacy lives on. However, my friends, on the other hand, on numerous occasions Zahn has simultaneously expressed a deep frustration. He doesn't feel as though Lucasfilm is using him enough. He's been left out of some very important Thrawn conversations. In the past, Zahn said he wants to write more content that ties into the Ahsoka show, which Lucasfilm hasn't asked him to do, notably concerning the build-up to the first season, with Thrawn and Ezra before they were separated on Peridia, their relationship when they were lost in hyperspace. But he also wants to write more about the Chiss ascendancy, continue the story of Eli Vanto, and he's even said he wants to write a fully fleshed out backstory for Snoke. So here we have one of the most legendary Star Wars authors almost begging to return. And in regards to what Dave Filoni is doing, Zahn is on record saying he had minimal influence on the direction of the Disney Plus show. That being said, only a couple of months after the first season of Ahsoka dropped, Zahn implied he was already told the outline for Season 2, and now, in his new interview at Fan Expo, he seems to double down on this. He expresses his complete faith in Dave Filoni, and he says while we haven't seen enough of him in live action in the first season, Season 2 is where it all comes together, the place where we're going to see a version of Thrawn much more consistent with the books. To Zahn, he says there is no difference. He's not mentioned extragalactic threats, we've had no mention of the Grisk, we've had no mention of the Chiss ascendancy. It just feels like Thrawn is in it for the remnant and to revive the Empire of old, which in canon is not his main motivation. So fans were very confused. But Zahn now says, quote, Filoni understands him, we're going to do just fine in Season 2. I really hope Zahn is telling the truth. I hope he's read the script for the second season, or he was consulted, or like I said, he saw the outline from the word go, so he has faith in the process, faith in Dave Filoni, and he's happy with it. But there is also the possibility he's just saying all of this to remain in Lucasfilm's good books, to not be blacklisted like so many other authors. Now the reason Timothy Zahn is so defensive of Dave Filoni is because he says he understands how to defeat Thrawn. And according to the author, that is always going to be something out of his control or something he doesn't anticipate. Thrawn is a tactician, a master strategist. He's always preparing for the worst. He goes to great lengths to learn everything there is to know about his enemies, their culture, their tactics, their weaponry. He immerses himself to prepare for any situation that might arise. But if there is a gap, some kind of oversight, a situation he wasn't prepared for, that is the one to exploit. And I think that's how the New Republic is going to defeat him. And I say this based on Timothy Zahn's own words. Reading between the lines, I think Thrawn is going to meet his fate. Maybe not in Ahsoka Season 2, but definitely at some point before the sequel trilogy. Thrawn is the remnant who fails. But Season 2 is going to be fascinating because Grand Admiral Thrawn is back in the known galaxy. Maybe what Zahn was originally shown has changed. But if you guys remember back in May, we had a really sad update that Zahn was trying to contact Dave Filoni. He was trying to get through to Lucasfilm, but they just don't answer the phone. And if it's true, it's absolutely crazy that Lucasfilm is not taking advantage of his advice, his expertise which he's willing to give. It would be an absolute crime if he was not consulted whatsoever on Ahsoka Season 2. But given that he's got some faith, I think that's a good sign. Maybe he's had a private conversation with Filoni which he can't talk about. As a massive Thrawn fan, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But if they want this season to be consistent with the rest of Star Wars canon, we need to see some proof that Thrawn isn't some kind of Imperial sycophant. He was merely using their tools, weapons, and resources to benefit his own people, the Chiss. So I think him stationing himself on Dathomir should be more than just trying to build an empire and take down the New Republic. I don't know where Dave Filoni's going with this, Thrawn's motivations in the show, but I hope he's more than just a caricature villain. And based on Rebels, we know Filoni can do it. And so I hold on to Zahn's new comments that we just didn't see enough of him in the first season, and that in Season 2 it's all going to come together. Depending on your perspective, whether you follow the new canon or Star Wars Legends, he can be anywhere from an anti-hero to a fully fledged evil genius. And I think in many ways Ahsoka Season 2 is a test to solidify where he stands. Another quote from Timothy Zahn to show his devotion and dedication to Star Wars is this: "It's a 10-hour drive from my house to Lucasfilm. I would do it in 8. Whatever Dave Filoni wants, I will write it, and you will like it." He knows his character better than anyone else, and Lucasfilm needs a win. I predict Ahsoka Season 2 is going to draw in a massive audience. The Mandalorian and Grogu would have already been out, and that's going to draw new fans and casual fans to Disney+. I can imagine the marketing is going to be very Anakin-centric. There's a lot going for this show. So having Timothy Zahn in the room, giving you advice, maybe writing some dialogue for Thrawn, that seems like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they do this? I do think there'll at least be some Legends influence on the second season, because keep in mind, the Grey Mothers, who draw upon witchcraft and the Force, are kind of like the Salamiri. Thrawn is going to mix his brains and strategy with magic and the Force. He's got his army in catacombs, whether they're night troopers or something else is yet to be seen, but he's a force to be reckoned with. It is motives that concern me. I've also seen an interesting fan theory that Thrawn might be a misdirect. One of the best things about Ahsoka is that the first season gave us a bunch of different puzzle pieces, and as a fandom we're looking at each of them thinking, oh, what if this one fits here? Or what if this one goes here? And we think we have some kind of semblance of what's going on, but I think there are more surprises to come. The world building in particular was great, but amidst the main talking points, there is one aspect which I think needs closer examination, and that is the Great Mothers. I think they're going to be Thrawn's downfall. He's going to wrong them in some way, not deliver on his promises, and I think they're going to cause his eventual death. Because we're looking at Peridia in the wrong way. We're talking about what's calling out to Baylan, and that is important, but we're not asking ourselves what happened to the original residents of Peridia. There were Easter eggs relating to the Night Sisters, the Zepho, and there were literal warnings in writing. The runes were talking about a great power that needs to be controlled, and fans aren't wondering how the Grey Mothers got there, if they got trapped there at some point, and how there is a massive connection between Dathomir, where Thrawn is, and Peridia, the second galaxy. In the past, Night Sisters travelled on the Purgle from one to the other. That has to mean something. Surely that's going to play into Thrawn's story at some point. On Peridia's fortress, there was inscribed, "Praise Kujet, ruler of all, may his reign last forever," and it seems that Kujet, who's one of the Zepho sages, was ruling in the original galaxy, which suggests they were once there, and some kind of event or disaster or punishment led them to Peridia. They were exiled to the second galaxy, and in the chamber on Arcana, where Ahsoka found the map, on the wall there was written something most peculiar. 3 there were who made the journey, without whose knowledge there is no returning, a pathway cosmic, near and far across the heavens, star to star. The 3 protect, so heed the path. For if you wander, you will die. So who are the 3? Could they be the Mortis gods? And while I thought so at first, what if the 3 in question are the Great Mothers, who made the journey long ago? Those might have been the powers keeping the evil on Peridia in check. So now that they're gone, now that they're back home, that evil power might wander, and it might be calling out to Baylan. Fans have had theories this might be Abeloth, could be something relating to the Night Sisters or the Zepho, who knows, but there is some kind of connection to Mortis. It's puzzle pieces, and Dave has not put them together yet. Maybe the Great Mothers were in stasis, just like the catacombs, and Thrawn is the one who helped them escape. So what is the connection between the Zepho, the Night Sisters, and the Mortis gods? Well, this is the big mystery. The Mortis gods are the mythic archetypes. The Zepho were the first civilization that tried to systemize their worship, and the Night Sisters are one of the surviving cultic traditions that use magic and carry fragments of Zepho knowledge across the galaxy. How they connect is Filoni's prerogative. I do like the Abeloth theory, and I don't doubt there is going to be some connection to Mortis, but be very cautious in expecting it. But let's just say they go down a uniquely Mortis route, so they don't do anything else with the Zepho. The original inscription on Arcana changes meaning. Despite great powers which do object, this secret way the 3 protect. So heed the path with a watchful eye, for if you wander, you will die. The 3 protectors are probably the father, the daughter, and the son, and the one they're protecting from could be Abeloth, something the Grey Mothers might know about, something Thrawn might be aware of. And the one who unfortunately will suffer the repercussions is Baylan. He's actively seeking her out. So even though we assume Thrawn is going to be the big bad of Season 2, that's only for the known galaxy. Whatever's on Peridia might have been set up to be the real threat, not just to Ahsoka and Sabine, but also to the Force itself. If Ahsoka is now the daughter, and Anakin the father, Baylan might be trying to become the son, and maybe those three are the new Guardians, who have to protect from the great power that objects. And maybe the second galaxy has more of an influence on the main one than we thought. And in this way, I think the Force themes in Season 2 are going to be more important than the fights between the New Republic and Thrawn. I guess the most exciting prospect is we simply don't know what's planned, but Timothy Zahn seems to have faith.